because in the end of the day, it's all about people. So I'm expecting from the next panel on this stage a view on capitalists as people, those issues and challenges and opportunities that those who work in VC, in the crypto industry, encounter every day. So I'm very happy to introduce your moderator, Shaurya. Could you please come on stage? Who will introduce you, your speakers? Good luck.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today, and we're all really looking forward to this particular panel discussion. Before we begin, I'd like to welcome all of the esteemed speakers on the stage. Mr. Jawad, if you could please come up. Mr. Vineet, would be a pleasure to have you here. Mr. Ali Madhavji from Blockchain Founders Fund. Mr. Rameez, please. I'm good. How are you?
Hi, how are you? Hey, we met.
So, guys,
Multiple cups.
I believe we could start now. And before we begin with the actual panel discussion, I'd request you all, gentlemen, to just give a quick introduction about the organization, the fund that you're representing, and we could then begin and start talking about the VC industry as a whole.
Absolutely. So good morning, everyone. So Ali Madhavji, managing partner at Blockchain Founders Fund. We invested and helped venture build top tier startups. We now have over 100 companies in the space. First checks behind a number of unicorns, and also serve on the board of a couple of public companies in the blockchain space, on the NASDAQ and Toronto Stock Exchange Venture, and many other things across the space. But I'll let you guys go ahead.
Thank you, Ali. Good morning, everyone. So quick about myself. Over 2 decades into financial services and private banking, investment banking. Fortunate to work with some big names, HSBC, Citibank, UBS, and have my own firm, Oxford Bridge Capital. Very active in the private equity and VC space, and this is something disruption which we are look forward to have good time with you guys. Thank you.
Hi, so I'm Jawad Ashraf. I'm CEO of Virtua. So we're a metaverse company, but we're also very deeply involved with a few capital firms. So what we're doing is that we're actually funding and incubating and seeding and investing into companies which we believe will actually be good metaverse plays. So we're in a sort of situation where we're building while simultaneously investing. So that's what we do.
Good morning, everyone. This is Vineet. I head Cypher Capital. We are one of the funds out of Middle East, which is actively investing in the crypto space. We are also building the Kevin O'Leary $500 million fund out of Dubai. A bit about me, been investing in projects for the last 3 years, over 200 investments in multiple sectors in crypto. And we are actively investing currently as well. So we're not hiding in the crypto winter. So that's a bit about me.
Thank you so much, Vineet, and thank you, everyone. We could now begin, and before I start asking the next question, I would like everyone to know that these people are not just investors or stakeholders. They're literally people who are helping projects go from 0 to a 10 and actually go from an ideation to a launch stage. And even after that, they're there to help build the projects. So maybe, Vineet, we could begin with you. Just let us know what has your experience been as a VC in this particular industry. Is there something that you thought would, be different for particular the crypto ecosystem, and how has it been for you throughout the years?
So again, when you compare it with traditional investing, traditional VC investing in the equity, where, majorly people are looking for the money and that's it. In crypto, it's not like that. People look for smart money. It's more of money. What partnerships can you get along? How much, because the specific part is tokenomics and a lot of people are not amazing with that. You look at knowledge, technical knowledge like that. You look at PR. One of the things that we did at Cypher booth as well is to get, in fact, TDeFi also does that, is to give visibility to these startups. So more than pure play money, it is about helping them. Again, we cannot help them make an idea and implement it, but we can definitely help them reach out to masses to adoption, and that's what makes us different. And I think that would be what separates us from quite a lot of people who are just plain investing in as capital.
Thank you, Vineet. And I think it's really true about both TDeFi and Cypher, because the idea is to like bring the projects to the surface and show them to everyone present in the ecosystem. Jawad, I think it's very nice that you are the next person who'd be like talking about this particular question, because you're someone who's from like both sides of the table. You're also investing, but you also have a project of your own. So how do you think that differentiates the kind of mindset that you had when you entered the ecosystem, and how have you been navigating it? What's your experience been like?
Well, my background is technology, so I was a developer many lives ago. So the sort of optics that I have and optics we have on investing is that, can they deliver the project? Do they have the right team? Is it just like a wish and a hope of a skateboarder with a dream? Or can they actually do it and deliver? So we actually kick the tires. We try to understand where the gaps are and sometimes even plug the gaps for them, because you don't know what you don't know. And like, if the idea is great, the founders are great, you can build the right team around them, but they might not have the expertise to do that. So it's quite interesting in the way that we've been going in it. We've been investing into something we believe is going to work and we know has the capability of delivering. There are so many risk factors in this market. It's a case of trying to minimize as many as you can. And one of the things is everyone's talking about a metaverse, but they don't realize it costs hundreds of millions of dollars to build something like this. But every PFP project you have says they can deliver one. So we have to really get into it and understand where they're coming from. And that's been part of our journey, trying to get people who can deliver and help people understand what they need to deliver.
All right, thank you so much, Jawad. And Rameez, if you could actually, shed some light on how different it has been for you, because you come from a proper traditional background, like those traditional banks that probably the crypto ecosystem is now trying to fight. So how is that, and how has basically that helped you navigate the ecosystem, and how is it different from what you've seen there?
No, thank you. So yeah, I'm the odd man out, actually. Neither I'm an engineer nor I'm a crypto guy, but I have a strong belief in this full new disruption which is coming, which will change the landscape. So how I see is, my job is not to make money, but my job is to manage risk. I think for me, that is the most important thing. Every day we see a lot of companies, investments and things coming up. But most important thing is not to take money or to invest money, but also to make money out of money and to manage your money and your risk. So I think managing risk is the most important part, which I completely focus on. Yes, believing on founder is very important. And that's where you try to see the credibility, the trust factor. So we bring in totality 100 years of experience doing, I don't know how many transactions, how many fundraise, how many deployments and exits which we have done. Now I am creating a risk mitigated fund which we are thinking on, especially in this space. But I say for myself and to other traditional private bankers is, you like it or you don't like it, but this space is going to stay and this will change the entire landscape. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rameez. So coming to you, Ali, how have you been navigating the ecosystem, and have you basically been managing the entire risk? Because you've been here since a very long time. You've been supporting the ecosystem since, I think we could not even count all the years in one hand, right? So how has it been for you? How's the journey been for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, things have changed a lot, right? I think when people look at this space, you actually see a lot of different areas that, get hot, that are fads that, die off, and then sort of other areas become hot. And I think it's interesting to sort of be aware and like understand sort of those ebbs and flows of the industry. There are a lot of really exciting things that oftentimes like aren't talked about. They're not sexy. And then all of a sudden they blow up, right? So, back in 2018, at the end of 17, start of 18, we started investing in blockchain gaming. There was only 2 blockchain games in the world at the time, right? And like later on, it actually blew up, years later, essentially, when you actually had NFTs and like all the hype. But we were already very deep in NFTs well before sort of the market really picked that up, right? And so we've sort of approached it even in a similar way. We don't follow a lot of other VC funds or anything like that. We do our own thing. We've got right now 25 open sub thesis where we think there's massive problems in the industry and there's no market leader. And so we're going out, we find companies out of that. Right now, we look at between 400 to 600 companies a month, and then we'll back generate a couple of companies a month. So we've backed 43 companies this year already. We tend to be very, very early checks in these businesses, and then we help support them to scale.
All right, Ali, I think now that you've already touched upon how many companies you're looking at and what basically you look for, what is something that is a make or a break moment thing for you in the projects that you're looking at? Something that really changes the kind of perspective that you have for that project that you're doing probably a due diligence for?
It's a good question. I mean, we're hyper focused on just incredible founders, right? I mean, if you look at the founders we've been backing, recently, sort of over the last month or 2 months, I mean, a number of them have been first employees at unicorns, right? So companies like HelloFresh, Bitpanda, like some of the first employees that stayed the entire journey, scale these companies. And, we get the opportunity to be first checks behind these businesses, right? Like those are generally not extremely hard decisions from our side to go and back founders like that, right? Oftentimes there's, ideas or things that nobody's doing in the world. And so like, it actually takes us time to even understand and capture their vision, right? Like we started investing in AI and NFTs when nobody in the world was either. And people thought we were crazy. And we were like, there's so many opportunities here. And we went to a bunch of other funds and they were like, AI and NFTs don't make any sense. Why would you need it? And and so we back companies like Altered State Machine as their first check. And now, they're an extremely well-known company in the space. And so I think there's always the side of, there is some of that craziness that, is part of great builders and visionaries. And, we want to go find like who's actually going to go change the game and drive value in this industry.
All right. Thank you so much, Ali. I think, Rameez, we could touch upon the risk factor that you've just mentioned and the craziness factor that Ali just mentioned. Do you think the kind of hype that we see around a couple of projects, does it make it more riskier? And what is something that is a make or a break moment for you in these projects?
Hype is the right word which you have actually used, but I will replace that with disruption. So when you say hype, it's little fake and artificially created. When you say disruption, you have attention. But in my opinion, what I see is I don't get excited as a person. I have seen it, I have seen it. I don't get excited. People come, talk. What I say is do 3-4 meetings with me, show the consistency. Okay, show your consistency in your vision, your approach. Don't give me numbers, figures. We have seen it. It's a very new market. I think somewhere I want to see, and I have seen people who has some hard asset or a real asset backed also, which helps somebody to understand. So in my opinion, till the time this space takes 3-4 corrections, you will find not so good companies going out, and we all will learn from that. And then, yeah, inshallah, in future we will. So in my opinion, this is going to be the world, right? Today we may say hype, disruption, but that is going to be the normal. 5 years, 10 years down the line, we have to catch up, but you have to pick up the right thing. So I'm a 43-year-old man. I always say either you become the very fast running horse that you win the races, or you piggy bank with somebody who is running very fast. So in both the time you reach. So I am the second one. Thank you.
Well, I'm a donkey with roller skates.
All right, Jawad. So you already know that you're running a very successful project too. So as a founder, right? We've already put up all the things that we're looking for. I mean, Vineet said that we look at the team. We've all mentioned what all we are looking for. What is one thing that you think founders are lacking when they go to an investor? I mean, we all know these terms, the team, the traction, everything. But as a founder, what should we do when we go to an investor?
I think as a founder, when you go to an investor, you need to understand that they're seeing 1,000 pitches a week. And you need to get to the point incredibly fast. And what happens is that a lot of founders really get hung up on talking about the solution that they've come up with. And that's actually the second or third conversation. If you're coming to me with an idea, I'm assuming what you have works. But what they always tend to do is go into a lot of detail about the type of solution, whereas what they need to do is get to the point, show the problem that you're solving, and the way you're going to execute it within half a page, because that's how long you've got the attention of the investors for. For me, that's a key thing.
All right. Thank you so much, Jawad. Vineet, maybe you could continue on that and also, tell us how do you basically differentiate between the projects that are bringing disruption and projects that are just like riding the hype?
So I've been a startup founder for 15 years before this. Again, I believe there are two separate things. One is building a great business, and one is raising capital or launching tokens. So for me, I think founders should focus on building a great project. In fact, I remember we invested in Kilt long time back, and when I was doing this call, my associate said, "Sir, they're going to release 100% tokens on day one. It's going to crash." I said, "I don't think the founder is just anyone." Talking to him, it looked like he's really going to do stuff. So for me, it's all about trying to build a company. Whether successful or failure, as a VC, we clearly know that we have a 95% chance of failing. So what we want is that guys actually build up something. Maybe it doesn't land up anywhere. It's okay. We are in the big business of investing. So what I feel is that founders should focus on building. Today, a lot of these companies that have raised millions of dollars recently have raised it in USDT and not Ethereum like in 2017. In 2017, everyone got Ethereum and it was $100 later on and they had no money. Today, everyone has capital. They need to learn the other basics of business, which means managing capital, getting the right product in. Like when you look at Cardano, it probably came up with the first smart contract after 10 years. But it has an amazing marketing team that has made it into a 6th or 7th Bitcoin. So, you need to have everything. You have Polkadot, which has an amazing tech team behind it, but probably the marketing. So you need to get all those things and make an amazing company, amazing business that needs to be built up.
100% agree with you, Vineet. And now that you've already talked about raising capital, I think it's a good time to talk about the basic debate that everyone's having, the debate between what is better, token fundraising or equity fundraising, and is one better than the other? Because if we really see how the industry has been, people started talking about tokenization and token fundraising because it actually helped, distribute the power, take it away from just the boardroom and give it to actual stakeholders, right? But now a lot of crypto startups are also, into equity fundraising. So what is your opinion on that and the value accrual that comes up with it?
So one of the concerns that everyone has been saying that there's no money in the market. I recently invested $5 million in Mistin. They raised $300 million. They were oversubscribed by $150 million. So it's not that there's no capital in the market. There's no capital for crap. So if you're planting a tree in Africa and say it's blockchain, there's no money for that. There's money for real use cases done by real founders. So this is something that, one has to definitely look at. And that's where the whole game will change, where we will back, really, really good founders, good ideas as well. So that would be my 2 cents on it.
Jawad, maybe you could now talk about, what is your perspective on what a project should look for? Equity fundraising, token fundraising, both, a mix of both. How should it be?
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's really interesting. Some of it's down to timing, because sometimes you'll have great companies and they've already done the token round, and now they're at a point in their lifetime where they're doing a fundraise based on equity. It's even something similar to what we're doing right now in Virtua. So one is a timing issue, but the other thing is, from a personal point of view as an investor, a token allows the company, in my head, to fail faster. So I will know within a shorter time frame on whether this investment is going to perform. First, the token should perform, then the equity will perform in the long term. But if it's an equity play only, you sometimes don't know whether the company is going to survive or excel or do what it needs to do for a longer time frame. And as a VC, you want to make money. And even if the investors, even if the founders fail, you can take them on to the next project, because it's all about the founders half the time.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, thank you. Personally, I believe I am a big fan of equity, but I think hybrid is also a good solution. But again, it's a point of high conviction, which space you are highly convicted and you feel like participating. So I think it should be open. You cannot take one route, but yeah, again, depending upon the founder, project, and area you're entering into, you need to be very careful.
90% of them are speculating. Trading is not adoption. If you talk to the people over here, they have traded Bitcoin. They have not used Bitcoin for anything. So for me, that's speculation. I think the cycle is there. Yes, there are economic conditions because whenever you are evaluating a project, I give 50% marks to the internals of a company and 50% marks to the externals. Today, the world economy is dash. So I can't use the word, but the world economy is in a very bad shape, and it's gonna affect every asset. Every asset is down. Stock markets are down 22%. But are you here to speculate for the next 6 months or the next 4 years? If you are in crypto and you understand what this does, by 2030 you will not die a millionaire. So for me, I'm on the long term. I'm happy to invest. I'm happy to look at value projects, and we need to hold on. Look at the trends. It's always been post halving, you see the markets booming. So a year or so, but keep investing. You shouldn't be running out of the market and hiding yourself right now.
All right. Thank you so much, Vineet. Maybe Jawad, you could now talk about what are your views and how do you see the entire ecosystem shaping up? Maybe not 1 year, but the next 4 or 5 years. What is your view?
I mean, I think one key thing is that when the market turned, it turned very quickly. But the fundamentals of any project and what they're building pretty much remained. If it was going to be something which was disruptive, those fundamentals don't go away overnight. So when the market went, in many ways is healthy because there was so much froth and hype and speculation. It became very hard, even as an investor, to try to separate the dross from real projects. So the way that I look at it, this technology is here to stay. There are multiple use cases, but it's so early. Now it's a case of the market's going to come back. There's like you said, there's a globe, absolutely so many things happening globally. But whenever it does come back, it's whoever's building disruptive technologies in the right areas, they will start arcing immediately whenever the market comes back. But in terms of when, I mean, the one thing about being in this industry, you can never know for sure. And actually, you never know in any industry, really. So my view is just keep building.
All right, thank you so much, Jawad. Rameez, same question, but I have to add one particular thing for you here because you're from the equity traditional side, right? We see the equity markets going down, the crypto markets going down too. How good of a sign is it? Can we now start believing that crypto markets are also moving according to the global sentiments? Or is it too soon to say that? And also, obviously, your views on how this is going to shape up.
No, I will completely agree with what Vineet said that it's a long-term game. It's not a speculation. And for sure, bear markets makes billionaires, for sure. And another thing I just want to say is when you know everything, when everything is done, research, tested, and everything, it's not a confidence. Confidence is when you don't know anything and you still want to go for it. So I think this market is full of confidence. I want to see people with maturity, experience, and say that, you know what, this is not my cup of tea. I want to create a platform whereby it should be cross-firing. Startup sitting here, not talking good things, saying that this is what you're not going to do and you're going to fail after 3 years. So I think we need to have a very transparent ecosystem. And not only crypto, anything AI, robotics, metaverse, NFTs, everything has to come up. All new money is coming into this space. All millennial money is coming into this space. People are exploring. Every market has a cycle, 3-year cycle, 4-year cycle. But yes, you have to become brave in this market. And it's not only crypto which is pulling the market. There are a lot of factors. There is interest rate, there is war, there is various stuff which is happening. But I think this is the time. In my opinion, next 6 months, you come as a winner or you say, I will wait for another cycle. This is what my take is. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rameez. Ali, just closing thoughts from your end too. How confident are you about the current scenario and what are you looking forward to?
It's a good question, right? So, I mean, I think as Vineet said, economy globally is not great. It's not really on a trajectory that's going to look a lot better, I don't think, in the next couple of years. From a data perspective, you go back to when we had high inflation in the late 70s and 80s. I mean, we literally had interest rates above inflation rates for years, right? So it could very much be a similar scenario. Having said that, I mean, this is where great builders build and a lot of the noise is gone. And so, you know, we're actively deploying more, like faster than ever, into great founders, you know, even more selective than ever as well, though. And, you know, that's going to continue. I think what's going to be interesting for crypto is, you know, Bitcoin hasn't performed as an inflation hedge to date. But I think as money gets more expensive, so as interest rates go up, money gets more expensive, assets will no longer correlate to one. And so there's a really interesting opportunity for Bitcoin to decouple from the market. I think central banks need to be a catalyst to it. We'll see. We just had a central bank invest in our fund, which we didn't know before it was a thing. So we think that's an interesting step. But, you know, if we do start seeing central banks come into this space and hold Bitcoin, either directly or through their sovereign wealth funds, like this will be pretty game changing, I think, for this space.
Thank you so much, Ali. I think it can be very well said now that probably the market is getting connected to the crypto sentiment too now. And as we have seen, the investors, stakeholders, and everyone in the ecosystem is even more confident about what we're going to do in the coming years. With that, I'll thank you all for being here. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming here and sharing your thoughts. It was a pleasure. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Think about tomorrow when we're dancing till the break of day. Ooh, take me by the hand, lead me by the soul. Where ocean meets the sand, never let me go. Leaving what it was will always be enough. Find the shape of us, never let me go.